This is Zenzi. On the very day that I'm certain I can explain the scientific basis, the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity, I'm reading in the paper Trombone Shorty, my second favorite joy. August 4th. That is 44 days away. June 16th. What a good, this is, who did see this coming? I was puking my guts out on the sidewalk, about to pass out from the rigors of homelessness. 44 days. Get my dance on, to get the groove going. And why I turned this on is because I've just grasped it. We'll see if I can get it into English for you. And I have all my theories, everything's going really, really well. And it's sort of like, it's practically impossible. How does the sort of energy represented by number so vast, it's the speed of light squared, gets stored in living cells? And this comes through with, there's no problem comprehending, to me at least, the standing wave concept of our memories being stored in our biofield. But then are they stored in our body as well? Big fan of the trauma work, TRE, David Berceli, and of course, we've got Gabor Mate, and of course, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. Now, the movement, right, creating vibration alongside this, we're beings of sound. Talking expression is really powerful. I mean, it's really our closest way to God. And what do we all do and on? Oh my God, what has happened in the U.S. of hypocrisy? I don't know if this is globally, but the way it's just like, yes, no, 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 yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, 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 no. We can't say one or the other. It's like this. No, you've done it. You tried to make sense of it. We do, because we read the body language. But what's happened to the verbal diarrhea of simple circuitry? Yes, no. It's one or the other. It's certainly not a creative combination of all of them in everyday situations. So clear as the standing wave concept was, I was listening to Eileen, and again, the direct reason I exist is Eileen Day McCusick. Tuning the human biofield, dead if not for that. And my ability to have legal cannabis in Washington State, and my brain power to go, these edibles ain't working. It's you don't want all that extra stuff. We want CICO. We'll make a whole bunch of money off of CICO. CICO. And this is tied together. Our ECS is the modulator in our body between our biochemistry and our bioelectricity. It's literally the system. Nearly all life has an endocannabinoid system. I think they object to some insects and arachnids. And there I'm switching over to melanin. I know spiders are said to not have melanin. Melanin in cannabis. Crucial. Look, when it comes down to it, demolishing racism is my top priority. I have that all sorted by 2030. Then we can get establish racial harmony. We can get busy on climate change and decapitating plantation capitalism. I usually say it that way. I've been reading about Lavoisier getting guillotined. All the science, the personal stories around the science of electricity. I've been reading from David Bodanis, both Electric Universe and now E equals MC squared. Great books. This is where I'm getting all my scientific validation from. And he's a scholar, a humanitarian. It's like MC Hammer said, do not test me. I love black humans. And I respect their intelligence. I've done so for decades of my life, and hence part of the reason I am the she-Einstein of consciousness. You will note that Einstein was very anti-racist decades before the concept existed. So the current most popular philosopher of the tweeterverse, and probably everywhere, quite frankly, MC Hammer. Right out here in my way far-flung Bay Area reaches. And Tracy now. I'd like the Socratic dialogue with MC Hammer. Oh, we have a blast. And I know his producer, Hot Mike, is ignoring me like everybody else. Oh, the connections, the interconnections. This is big. I wrote all this down earlier before I got how the body keeps the score. It's this data about how E equals MC squared worked in the atomic bomb. Unleashing the energy. And it's the double layer cell membrane keeps it in. Well, there's a lot special about living cells, but we'll leave that for a while. What we're trying to talk about is, does the fascia contain memory of trauma? We find it that, and I think that's an altered state of consciousness where we're really aware that we've touched the body and something major has happened. The cause and effect is really radical, but if it stores trauma memories, it's going to store everyday memories to some extent. And you see, that is where the salience, everything that's happening, it's always a circuit. You got to bring it back down to the essential circuit. And afferent is going on. But when we're talking about storing memories, it's going to be how much excitatory versus inhibitory neurotransmitters are getting produced. That's this, and if it's just blah, 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 that energy is just going to disperse. To have a wobbling neutrino insulated with deuterium, heavy water, structured water in the human body. That's structured water in the human body has got to be chemically similar to deuterium, double H's. And and I have a personal lived experience with this, because let me tell you something. When you start fasting, this whole concept of water fast. Now, if you're morbidly obese, as I was, 333 pounds when I turned 50, evaporated 150 pounds in 15 months after turning 50 using no standard diet or exercise. Nothing. And cannabis. Here's the deal. So why would your body be able to stock in 200 extra pounds? Just a regular size. Well, I'm slightly taller than average female, I think. slightly taller than average. 5'7". Why could a human body put on 200 extra pounds of perfect onboard nutrition? Stored fat is perfect human nutrition for everyone too old to suckle from a breast. Got 200 pounds of perfect onboard nutrition so I can migrate for a long time because my environment is that poorly supporting me. What good would it be to have like 2 years of fuel, although it looks like I've needed it all, if I would die without water in a handful of days? 2 years of food, no water. All you got to do is think in your memory. You've seen, when we're talking about trans fats and all these things, look at a fatty acid. It's 3 molecules. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in alphabetical order. Everything we know about being in a state of burning fat comes from collimators which measure exhaled carbon dioxide. See, when you break apart a stored fat molecule, exhale the carbon, your body now has lots of free floating H's and O's to combine. So yeah, the body keeps the score. And it's through the energy of the salience of what's happening to us. And unfortunately, we build a civilization where most of what's getting stored is very traumatic. Also good things too. Good things start coming out with nitric oxide floating around and tingling and One of the ways I sorted out, that's what the ECS is for. All right. Gotta keep these short. Got this YouTube limit bandwidth, electricity insecure. Technology cannot handle my brain power. Searching for a patron to fund. Ending all dehumanization by uniting us as one species. It all comes from back as I sang about MC Hammer. The wise, wise words. His quote, "When you measure, include the measurer." The reason why all these physicists have not created a unified theory, reason why they can't solve consciousness with all the strings and duct tape and whatnot, they're not embodied. They're not in love with their lives. We've got to include the measurer, us, and all of our dysfunction. And as soon as we account for all of our faulty, flawed, and fraudulent paradigms, I'm going to soar us into an expansion of consciousness. Harmony.